I've got to figure out, Leo, we're going to talk about it at the end of the agenda.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah,
And
we're
Amy,
planning-
Barb
Yeah.
has, oh, that was her hand. Okay, I guess that was her hand.
we're sharing screens. so
Right,
it's a little
Amy,
harder
Barb
for-
just wanted to talk. Right?
Yeah.
What she did.
Yeah, I'd love to have that discussion. And I also find that most of the frustration we see, or people that, are, mad at the police for the way they handled a situation or something, when we sit down and have a conversation about it, generally we can come to a mutual agreement. And a lot of times too, it's systems or challenges outside of the world of biggest problem there. And so I'd be happy to come back. And I think doing it with PR, if you think we have enough time to do that, I think is a natural fit of just like, what does the whole process look like with them? And then what does the whole process look like with us? And they're going a lot without us, or I don't know about a lot.
Deal. All righty. Well, we're getting close to the bottom of the, of our timeline, and we wanted to talk about a few things under the new business. And first thing that's really important that we'd like to reserve is, I noticed days of the weeks were put in an email to Claudia. Unfortunately, the times were not listed. But if that information can make it to the PCCEP calendars, then I think more people could plan to be at our meetings, because I guess our stuff's not being launched on the PCCEP calendar on the website, months in advance, when we all know this is when we're meeting. So maybe we can make that one of our to-dos, before maybe you go, Theo.
It looks like
get
Claudia
stuff
was about,
posted, or
yeah, Claudia was going to respond, I think.
I was gonna say, yeah, I can list them, and then if there's any changes that happen before that, then it's just good to know in advance, so that way folks can also change their calendar. That's the one thing why we don't post it such in advance, because sometimes meetings change or times change, but I'm happy to just post them for the year, and then if there are changes that come up, then we can just,
Yeah,
change it
we'll
ahead
make
of time.
adjustments. Yeah, absolutely.
And the good news is it looks like our website is finally going to get migrated to the new format.
Ooh.
We were one of the last bureaus to get that done. And so
okay.
I'm hoping that's going to make it even better. But given the rest of the website that got migrated, don't like bet your rent on it. But
Oh, okay.
just because I find it very hard. Theo's laughing at me because I just, it is very frustrating, as you know. Sorry, yeah. Can I just say, I don't want to lose Gloria. I really, if it's all right, I just wanted to say, I really heard what you were saying about, the gun violence and the gun deaths and how deeply it's impacting, particularly the Black community, is just horrific. And so I just wanted to say that might be something to bring to the steering committee to talk about. There is a violence prevention program in the mayor's office. Maybe we could invite them to come to a meeting, a general meeting, or so I just want to, please reach out to me if you want to. I hope we'll pursue that. I know it is a terrible concern right now, and it's probably just every day when you open the paper, it's just another huge heartbreak. So would love to support you in bringing that forward as a PCCEP focus.
Yes, thank you.
So just from my own knowledge, do we perceive that to be gun violence against people, or police against people, or both?
Violence is violence.
Well, I don't
The
know.
majority of deaths are happening amongst the community, in the community right now. And, I think not an expert, of course, but my opinion is that there is a relationship, right? So the relationship in terms of how can the police be a factor in solving this problem? How can we, it's a very complicated set of circumstances, but I definitely don't want to, I just feel like every day I have a time of being in tears for another Black life lost, really. That's what it feels like. And it's a huge crisis in the community. And, I think Claudia pointed out to me once really beautifully, I hope I can share this, Claudia, and I really hope, because I'm going to do it, but it's not just the loss of that life or that person's mother and cousin, the ramifications, the waves of grief and loss and trauma that go out throughout the community. And we're all in very traumatic circumstances right now with the pandemic and all the things that are going on. And so, it's just important, I think, that we honor and definitely center the recognition of where there's such terrible harm and violence right now.
Is any of it connected to gang violence?
I'm sure a lot of it is.
Because didn't we eliminate the gang violence task force?
Yeah, but a lot of it is not gang violence. It's just a person not liking you getting into a fight. I mean, there's so many
Just
branches.
random shootings, huh?
Yeah, just random shootings, and they're not gang related. They're
Okay.
African Americans being killed, and it's
If you
Okay.
look at the Oregonian, and I don't remember which issue it was, but I'm sure we can do some research if you're interested. It says just as many Black children who have been killed one-on-one for gang violence,
Yeah.
police have killed just as many. So I don't know how you equate that. It seems like we need to make sure that our community is well and that our police officers are well so that they can take better care of our community. I don't want the police officers to go out feeling like they are putting their life at risk and they're not being appreciated. You are being appreciated. But you know what? We're losing children. All right.
Wow. Wow. Well, on
Barbara,
that note, maybe we should have a moment of silence for everyone.
Barbara has her hand up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that, as far as it being gang or not gang, it just seems that people are suffering from the pandemic.
Sure.
And, we're like working really locally and focused. But, like during the pandemics, we got a number of more billionaires, and then other people are just becoming more poor and not having any hope. And, it's just, and even my friends, we're pretty comfortable, but I was at a meetup, a couple of weeks ago, and people were saying, well, if I didn't already own my house, I'd be in trouble. You know what I mean? It's just times are hard.
Yeah.
And that's why people are like on the edge more, like before, maybe they would have gotten a fist fight, or maybe they would have just had a yelling argument, and then now it's, so, yeah.
Yeah, I sat in on a couple conferences about the crisis of the pandemic in the mind, with mental health. There was 5-state conference. They're all talking the same thing, that there's a whole nother mental health crisis just from the pandemic. So
Sure.
yeah, I can relate. But everybody here, I won't keep you all. We're going to have further education on the directives starting in hopefully February, March. We're going to line up some wonderful guest speakers. And I also want to put a seed of thought out there that maybe some of these directives would be better served if we had a co-joined meeting. We used to do that, where we would partner up with our meetings and have longer time and just share this space. Remember, Theo, that worked out well. And like the Behavioral Health Subcommittee paired up with the Racial Equity Committee, and we had a beautiful forum conversation, on different subject matters. So I want to put out that I'm always up for that too, and available, to have a co-joined meeting. So think about it, everyone. We definitely want to review these mental health directives. These are really And the directives, that is really huge, you know, that everything is starting new in January. And I think it'll give us a chance to be in front of the game instead of behind it, you know.
And so what that means is you want your comments to count, you have to get.
So just so you know, Amy, we can't hear Barb, but just that we
Yeah.
know she's talking to you, but we can't
Yeah.
hear her on our own.
I just was reiterating that actually at this point, anybody that has comments about the wellness directives should be sending them in on their own because it's only a 2-week time window.
The
And
wellness
the
directives or the mental health directives?
Sorry, the mental health, any of the directives, but not the letter of support for the wellness program. That wasn't what I was talking about. Sorry about that.
Thanks.
Anyway, I was just kind of clarifying. Thank you, Tia. The 17th of January is the due date for those. But then they'll come back
Right.
with the, what?
Oh, Barbara, I was just gonna go where you're going. I was gonna say that's not the end of the process.
No, it's not. Then they'll come back, as Mary Claire has educated us, with the stuff, the comments that have been made. The policy team will talk about them and there will be changes. And so the next iteration will come out to be talked about. And we'll try to make sure that we get as much of a heads up as the little angels will tell us.
Oh, and one more thought, Chase, if you could help. If there are any particular directives that like by law cannot be modified, it'd be good for me to know that, because I know sometimes things are bound by statute that really can't do a lot of modification. And so if you could pick out which directives are bound by statute, that'll alleviate a lot of the work we're going to try to do in going through them. Because I know that PSRB is PSRB, okay? And they have their own rules and regulations. So that's one of the subject matter in there. And so that's the kind of thing I'm looking for, is where are the places we can be the most effective? You have a month, you don't have to rush. I mean, we have 2
Yeah.
weeks, but it'd be helpful, you know, to know by the next meeting so we can know where to go next, you know, where to drive home the input.
Okay. And I may not be the best person for that, but I can find out who can give us that.
Okay,
Mary
yeah.
Claire might be able to, I mean, she's the head of the policy team, right? Are you the boss of those people, Mary Claire?
I don't ever like to put her on the spot like that, you know. I
Right.
think I can
You can
speak
leave
up.
that to me.
That's
Amy.
all right. And yeah, right. Judith has no hesitation. No, but I also want to remind you folks that, you know, the 2 weeks is, you know, you set it out, that's the policy as it is. You're going to look at it, and if you have any ideas, whatever, then those comments come in. But when, you know, we've agreed with if PCCEP is working on a policy, that's why we gave it to you ahead. It hasn't been posted yet, but we're giving you a heads up, it's coming. So that gave you more time than the 2 weeks.
It got
And we will
posted
continue-
yesterday. Sorry, girl.
Okay, well, I think we sent you notice, you know,
My angel
couple weeks
came from
ago
the PHUAC.
that it was coming. But in any event, if you're working on it, you know, we will certainly still take your comments during our, you know, reconciliation period. So let's, you know, I mean, we're not gonna ignore you because, you know, you didn't get it in the 2 weeks. If we're, you know, working on the stuff, then because clearly we're not gonna turn it around that fast. We've got lots of, you know, policies in the lineup. And so if you have something for next month and want to come up with some recommendations, we'll be happy to take them. This is, you
Yeah,
know,
but Mary Claire, I don't know where to begin and end the recommendations. Like if there's a line in
look at
there
each
that,
directive one by one, you know, and look at 850-20, then look at 850-21. They're all, you know, linked together, obviously. But I would suggest looking through each one individually and making recommendations if there are changes that you know, would like to suggest, then you would just send your, you know, comments on, you know, for each individual policy.
okay. So what you're
Okay.
telling me is every policy could be reviewed and rewritten. Is that kind of what you're telling me?
they're all going to be reviewed. Anything that we post means we're reviewing them. We have an obligation, as they mentioned, on DOJ policies, we do it on an annual basis. On other policies, we do it on a 2-year basis, or try to, even though I will be first to tell you that on other policies, we are far behind on that, level, but we do try and keep up on the DOJ ones for obvious reasons. But yeah, so we're going to review them. If we think there is, a reason to change them, we certainly can do that. But we, on the DOJ ones, you have to remember that any changes have to be reviewed and approved by the DOJ. So there's another level in those kind of directives. So you make a recommendation. If we were going to, take it and make a substantive change, we would obviously then we submit that to DOJ for their comments, and we meet with them and, eventually come up with a final version that would then be posted for a second review, so that you'd know what the proposed final version would be, and you get another chance to, to comment on the final version.
So how do I know if it belongs to DOJ?
Well, we gave you guys a list. Ann asked for it a long time ago. I've given it, several times. I'm sure we can come up with it again. There are 48, I think, but mental health ones clearly are. So, and we can certainly, a matter of fact, I even think that we made an agreement that we star the ones that are posted or have a little dot beside it if it's DOJ related. There's a designation. I forget whether it's a star or some kind of, notation on the page where they're posted that would give you an idea that this was a DOJ versus a regular policy.
Oh, awesome. See, that's why I need a trainer, so that I can get better at recognizing all of these little things that y'all know in your head that the rest of us have never seen in print.
Bye,
So just
Barbara.
keep that in mind.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think, are we done, Amy? It looks like we're people have to start leaving.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm done. Thank you all.
Thank
I will
you,
close the
everyone.
meeting.
Everybody.
All right.